establishment, or is it that they are behind Trump, who is running under the Republican ticket, but they're not necessarily, showing any allegiance to the party?
Well, certainly they're kind of drawn to this kind of larger than life presence that Trump has had consistently throughout this campaign. And I think it really is this idea that they like what Trump represents. They like that he represents this outsider image rather than, being, a Republican candidate. But certainly most of the Trump voters are Republicans. He has also, though, drawn a lot of Democrats, a lot of independents to his candidacy. You've seen that in open primary contests where Donald Trump has taken support from elsewhere as well. So that's where he really benefits, is from his outsider appeal, something that goes beyond party lines.
And in the meantime, there's a large crowd gathering in New York, just near Central Park there, and apparently people say, or Columbus Circle, people say they're going to march their way to the Trump Tower. And so, Jason, I wonder if this kind of movement, this anti-Trump sentiment right there in the Big Apple, will in any way, disrupt, distract Donald Trump and his message.
I don't think, Fred, I don't think it's going to distract Trump in his message, but it is going to change one of the longest standing political axioms ever. I've always said you can never win a presidential election by having people vote against the other guy. They got to want to vote for you. That may change this year. I think there seem to be so many people, including about a hardcore 25% of Republican Party, independents, and a lot of Democrats, who literally will just vote against Donald Trump. And when you see something like this in the city of New York, where Donald Trump is actually very, very popular, it's a sign of what may happen in a general election. This may turn out to be the beginning of something that works out really well for Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders.
And Jeremy, are you seeing any, gatherings of anti-Trump, protesters or, people who are showing up, who are professing that they're not really there in support of Donald Trump?
Yeah, I mean, certainly in the last couple, we've seen protests, of course, against Donald Trump since the beginning of his campaign, in the midst of all of the controversial comments that Trump has made. But in the last couple of weeks, we've really seen a solidifying of the anti-Trump protests. We've seen some more organized efforts, some more concerted efforts, and we've also seen the kind of divisiveness of the rhetoric kind of break out as well with some violence. So today that hasn't been the case yet, but certainly we've seen a lot of anti-Trump protests and a lot of protests that are more organized and concerted efforts to kind of stop Donald Trump.
All right, Jeremy Diamond, Jason Johnson, thanks so much, gentlemen. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Frederica.
Hey, good morning, Fred. Yeah, Bernie Sanders has been campaigning very hard out west, and it's a region where he thinks voters are more open to his message and a place where he can make up some ground against Hillary Clinton. Yesterday, he was in all three states that have contests on Tuesday. He hit Arizona, Utah, and Idaho. And Sanders, remember, who's been battling with Hillary Clinton over which of them will have an easier time defeating Donald Trump, he managed to take a shot at both Clinton and Trump. It was kind of a twofer. Let's take a listen.
And let me say a word or two about my good friend Donald Trump. Just kidding, he's not my good friend. In fact, I never even went to one of his weddings.
Now, remember, Bill and Hillary Clinton attended Trump's 2005 wedding to his current and third wife, Melania. So Sanders kind of portraying Clinton as cozy with Trump and the political establishment more generally there. That's a line, that's sure to play with Sanders' anti-establishment base. And Sanders, he's been spending a good chunk of time in Arizona. The Grand Canyon state has the most delegates at stake on Tuesday with 75. And, Sanders really starting to campaign there on Tuesday. Remember, his Super Tuesday 3 election night headquarters was in Phoenix. He's holding a rally there tonight. He's making a stop at the border in just a few minutes. So Sanders really putting down a marker there in Arizona. For her part, though, Clinton has not campaigned in any of the three western states up for grabs on Tuesday. She's been doing a lot of fundraisers this week, though she is up with a Spanish ad in Arizona, and she called into a Phoenix radio show on Thursday to say, she thinks the government's been doing a good job securing the border. Clinton and Sanders are both courting that big Hispanic vote in Arizona, where Latinos make up 30% of the population. And Bill Clinton, he'll be in Arizona tomorrow, Fred, stumping for his wife.
And then, Chris, what's behind the, is it frustration that was displayed between Bernie Sanders and a local reporter?
Well, so there's two versions of that story out there, Fred. Apparently, the local reporter asked about Jane Sanders, Bernie's wife, who went down to the tent city that Sheriff Joe Arpaio keeps there with migrants who have come through that he's arrested. She was questioning the living conditions there, and the reporter was asking about that trip. Bernie Sanders answered the question and then walked off his campaign saying, well, the interview was over and had run over its 4 minutes of allotted time. A rapid response person saying that, the reporter had taken a shot at Jane Sanders. So it's a little unclear exactly what was behind that. We've not yet seen the question that was asked by the reporter either, that local station not putting the question out. So the official explanation from the Sanders campaign was that the interview was over, he had answered the question, and they were out of time, Fred.
All right, Chris Freites, thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, meantime, we've been mentioning to you that there is going to be a rally that will be getting underway momentarily for Donald Trump there in Phoenix, Arizona. We saw Jeremy Diamond there, and the crowd was growing. Meantime, new pictures right now that we're receiving. I had asked Jeremy about any signs of protesters, and he described, what they've been seeing recently at various rallies. Well, today here in Phoenix, apparently there are a number of people who are not supporting Trump who have showed up, apparently even blocking traffic on the way to the event. You can see these parked vehicles on Shea Boulevard there, blocking both lanes of traffic into the Fountain Hills, Arizona area where that rally will be taking place. We understand that the Maricopa County Deputy Joaquin Enriquez says that this boulevard is the main artery into the area, and the protesters' actions are causing motorists to drive into oncoming traffic as they try to get around the protesters there, a potentially dangerous situation. Maricopa County deputies are on the way to, quote, engage the protesters, end quote, at this time and remove some of the vehicles, thereby they're hoping to reopen the arteries there so that people can enter and exit the planned rally for Donald Trump there in Phoenix. We'll, of course, keep you posted, but those are the latest images of the small group of people, appears to be a small group of people who have gathered there. All right, and something you don't want to miss, come Monday, Democratic and Republican candidates all making their case to voters on the same night, on the same network here at CNN. The final 5 candidates, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on CNN. We'll be right back.